Welcome back, everyone, to Jcrashinthecar's top 200 films of all time. Let's get going here. Continuing on with number 180, Cameron Crowe's Say Anything from 1989. This is John Cusack, Ione Skye, Lily Taylor in an all-time great supporting role. This was a film that really helped define the rom-com, and you have this sort of noble underachiever here and a beautiful valedictorian, and also you had John Mahoney in a great supporting role here. This is just a classic film that really was helped to define the whole 1980s genre, definitely adding to the John Hughes genre that was created here. But I think Cameron Crowe found something special with the really honest story of first love here. And I know that sounds cheesy, but this is a great film. Say Anything from 1989. Okay, number 179, 1979, Kramer versus Kramer. This is Dustin Hoffman again. I really love Dustin Hoffman. You will come to see. It's also Meryl Streep. And this is a story about divorce, but it's also a story that today is actually more relevant than ever. This is a story about men's rights, and so often we hear about feminism and the feminist movement and women's rights. And this was a film that really challenged at the time, was so groundbreaking from 1979, and continued even to this day to challenge what we understand and hold as common knowledge about fathers. This is a great film about fathers' rights, and it's a tragic film at the same time about a divorce and a custody battle that really adds to the further division between these two people. And Dustin Hoffman, 1979, Kramer versus Kramer. Okay, number 178, Crossroads from 1986. This is a little gem of a film starring Ralph Macchio and Joe Seneca. Also Jamie Gertz, who was really a hot, young, up-and-coming actress who kind of fizzled out after the 80s. And this is really sort of a modern-day version of the tale of Robert Johnson, the guitar player, and the selling of your soul and meeting the devil at the crossroads. Great music in this film. Steve Vai makes a cameo. Great guitar work. Classic blues film. Everything that you would want in Texas blues. It's kind of a forgotten gem here. 1986, Crossroads. Number 177, we're going to get into my first Federico Fellini film on the list from 1954, La Strada. Now, this is a film, it's a really tragic film, but so well captured by Fellini. It's the story of this girl really just trying to find her own independence amidst these social constraints that are upon her. It's a tragic film and a sad film, but it's a very beautiful film. It stars Giulietta Messina, who is also Fellini's wife, and just a classic film from 1954, La Strada. Anyone into the art of film needs to check this film out. All right, moving on, number 176, Darren Aronofsky's Requiem for a Dream. And this is Ellen Bernstein in a classic role. This is a film about substance abuse, about narcotics, about the disassociated fragmentation of reality that takes place with drug abuse and dependence, distortion of our own place in reality and in the world. It's a story that follows three different characters, Jared Leto and also Jennifer Connelly in a great performance, and Marlon Wayans as well. This is Darren Aronofsky. It's an art film. I've heard it argued that the film is more stuck on visuals and things like that, and of course it is. I found it to be Very groundbreaking by Aronofsky. It's definitely one of my favorites by him. I shaved off a film that I really liked of his from earlier this year or a year or so ago called Mother, but you're going to see other Aronofsky work. I'm not a super fan of his, but I also respect his work, and Requiem for a Dream to me belongs on the list. Number 175, Gravity from 2013. This was a film shot by Emmanuel Lubezki. This is a film I saw twice in the theater, and on a pure cinematic level, this film was groundbreaking. And of course, Emmanuel Lubezki continues to outdo himself. And some of the great takes that were captured in this film on a technical level are brilliant. It's got a great story of just the human condition and survival and humankind's place on Earth and in the universe. It has some great homage paid to the classic films like 2001. This is Alfonso Cuarón's 2013 release of Gravity. Number 174, this is a recent film from 2016, a French film that, man, I really just thought was an awesome film, Nakta Rama. I've seen this film 3 times over probably the last year, and this is a powerful film. It's directed by Bertrand Bonello. It's almost like 2 films combined in one. It's a satirical, sort of a third-person look at the hypocrisy and sort of the empty causes that are going on amongst the younger generations as they quest for social change, yet fall victim and prey to the very society that they are trying to revolutionize. This is amazing work here. I love this film, Nakta Rama. Definitely found its way into my top 200 films from 2016. All right, number 173. We're going to go here with a John Hughes film. I was just talking about him in the earlier release with Cameron Crowe. And this is The Breakfast Club from 1985. This is a great film just based on dialogue. Up-and-coming stars, the Brat Pack. You had Emilio Estevez, Judd Nelson, Molly Ringwald, Ali Sheedy. It's a film that really tries to contrast all the different stereotypical groups that you see in a high school. You have the jock, the stoner, the popular girl, the freak, the nerd, and how they all sort of come together here and realize that they have a lot more in common than they think. And it's a powerful film. It's a film that rests heavily on dialogue. It's great dialogue. John Hughes' best film. I'm sure you could argue that, but it found its way here on my list at number 173. It's The Breakfast Club from 1985, right in the middle of the 80s there, folks. All right, number 172, we got a film from 1966. This is a Czech film that, man, I just fell in love with this film. Closely Watched Trains. You're going to see this film on some of the American Film Institute classic of the all-time foreign pictures. This is such an amazing contrast and train wreck, no pun intended, of a story about a young kid that's working on these train lines during World War II, and the Nazis are coming in, and this kid's just so caught up with getting laid and seeing naked chicks and stuff that he allows all this terrible shit to happen. It's a dark juxtaposition of a human sexuality and the drive of our natural impulses, that somehow that can override all of our other responsibilities and even our own philosophical causes that we are willing to fight for. We get lost in this sexuality. It's almost a comedic film and almost a study on human nature, but a great film nonetheless. 1966, Closely Watched Trains. You got to check out this film. All right, the last film in this segment, it's 1979. What can you say? It's Steve Martin's The Jerk. All right, everybody, we all know the story of a jerk. I was born a poor black man. This sort of comedy, I'm not sure would fly these days because of so many of the racial undertones that were happening. But I mean, I can't tell you how much great comedy came out of the 70s and early 80s that really was making fun of our racial differences and really making fun of our preconceived notions of what race is. And The Jerk is much more than that. It's a story about an idiot's rise to fame and of course their collapse in the end. Steve Martin knocks it out of the park here. It's 1979's The Jerk. It never gets old. He doesn't like these cans. Let's just leave it at that. All right, everyone, thanks for tuning in to the third segment of Jcrashinthecar's top 200 films of all time. We'll see you soon out on that highway. Take care.